The following is paid for by Advanced Physical Medicine of Miami.
The information presented in this program is for educational purposes only. It is not intended to diagnose, treat, or cure any condition, illness, or disease. The depiction of successful results from the treatments discussed in this presentation are examples of the possible benefits and do not guarantee results. The decision to start any medical treatment should be made only after discussing all benefits and risks with a healthcare provider.
Welcome to Healthy Dose with Dr. Joe. Are you ready to repair damage to your body? Replace what is depleting to regain your youthful vitality? Regenerate what is now degenerating? Dr. Joseph Gabridella is a doctor of chiropractic medicine and an anti-aging health practitioner diplomat. He was the first doctor in Miami to complete his fellowship training in stem cell therapies. As the owner of Advanced Physical Medicine and Rehab of Miami, he provides patients with the most sophisticated and safest treatments in the market today. Join Dr. Joe for the next half hour and learn about the medical advancements that have helped thousands avoid surgery and pain meds. From stem cells to hormones and everything in between. Get ready to feel empowered. Get ready to regain control and reclaim your life. Now, here's your Healthy Dose with Dr. Joe.
Welcome to Healthy Dose Radio. I am your host, Dr. Joe Gabridella. I'm here with Rob Sapero, our office manager, and we are here today with Coach HP, Hector Penate. How you doing, Hector?
What's up, everybody? It's your coach, Joe, Rob. Such a pleasure to be here. Beautiful afternoon. It's hot outside. The doctor came in all the way from, was it Jersey?
Yeah, Jersey this morning,
Jersey.
6 a.m. flight.
Beautiful, beautiful day here today.
Yeah, man. Pleasure to have you as well.
Hector, I'm really glad to have you. You know, we met in the office. You brought your daughter in to see us about a month or two ago. Penelope, beautiful, beautiful little girl. You have an amazing family.
Always was a smile.
Yeah, she cheers everybody up.
Yeah.
But this is going to be an interesting show today because we're going to talk about a lot of things. But why don't we start out with Penelope? Tell me about how you found out about us and, you know, the condition that we treated her for, and I'll tell you a little bit about some of the things that we've done with her.
It's funny because her nanny, actually, you treated one of her previous clients or kids that she took care of, not the one that my nanny took care of, but her sister. You treated her, and they were very impressed with the job you did. And we were going to therapy for twice a week, but we were still seeing the condition of her with the head tilted a little bit to the left, her being a breech baby and being a big baby at that. It was still affecting her. And when we started bringing her to you, we started seeing a lot of positive change right away. And not only that, but just the good service and how you guys are very friendly and very helpful. I think it's been very, very, very good.
And what Penelope has, which is very, very common with breech deliveries, is a condition called Torticollis. And it's not age dependent. Infants can get it. You can get it when you're 90 years old. And what it is, it's a condition where the head is chronically pulled to one side. Oftentimes, as we get older, we can appreciate how uncomfortable it is and how painful it could be. You can imagine for a baby to have that 24/7. Right. And it's a combination of having a pinched nerve and a severe muscle spasm all at the same time. Wow. Traditional treatment for it involves therapy. You had been doing a lot of physical therapy, stretching, trying to condition the muscle to release on that side and balance out the head. But in chiropractic, we look at the source of many, many conditions that we treat as having a source of nerve interference. A pinched nerve is essentially what she had. And when you have a pinched nerve from being a breech development or even a forceps delivery, it expresses itself at different ages with different symptoms. For you and me, we'd have a really bad sore neck that would take about 10 days to go away on its own, and it would come back over and over and over again if we didn't get it treated properly. But with a baby, the condition is much more permanent initially, and so the condition takes longer to heal because the nervous system hasn't fully formed yet.
Doctor, do you see this a lot with kids? Is this
very, very common with kids.
Yeah.
Very, very common with kids, along with things like being colicky, having ear infections, and really with babies, the alignments or adjustments that we do, you saw it with your wife, taking the baby, putting her in a specific position and really letting the bone shift by itself, letting the muscle relax. The changes occur very, very quickly. For having a condition that lasted months, to be able to see a 20 or 30% improvement after just a few sessions is a big deal.
Wow. Wow.
And so, we got to talking about that, and you told us a little bit about yourself and how you got into coaching, and you're working with a lot of different baseball players. And I think there's some parallels that I want to talk to you about today, about athletes and about how we approach things in general, whether it's our health or whether it's goals that we have in our life. We grew up, I'm 48, you are
40. So we're close.
So we're
you got way more hair than me, doctor, so you're beating me.
Where it's a full-time battle, working on it every day. But, we grew up in a generation still where hard work, we didn't win all the time. There weren't second place trophies. Everything that we got, we worked for. If we didn't work for it, we didn't get it. What I find now, being a healthcare provider for 21 years, is that when I work with athletes, the information, the tools that are available to athletes are more numerous than they've ever been. But at the same time, the athlete in general is a little bit more coddled than they used to be. And when they approach injuries, the care for their injury is 100% oftentimes I see in the hands of the trainer, the rehab specialist, without a lot of emphasis put on the athlete themselves following through and taking that step to follow through with their rehab till completion.
Let me ask you a question, because you brought up an interesting point. You were telling Kati that you do the women's volleyball team at FIU.
Yep.
Do you do the same amount of women's team versus men's team?
At FIU, they have the FIU sand volleyball team or the beach volleyball team. It's only a women's sport.
Do you notice a difference between female athletes versus male athletes? Have you noticed how females are absolute lionesses?
Yes.
They run through fire for you. They attack like you have no idea. The reason why I've noticed that, and I've done a big study of that here in Miami, is because, and I was telling that Kati today, Kati's being raised by a single parent, my aunt, and women, when raising women, are getting it right, because what's happening is no woman wants men running up on their daughter, or that, so they want to make them like a Beyonce kind of thing, which is very fierce, very independent. But what I'm noticing with the boys and the men is totally different, and because of the divorce rate and more single parents, and usually it's more time with the moms aren't getting it right with the boys. And I thought it was a Miami thing, so I started traveling around the country, and I saw it's everywhere. Like an example, I cannot tell you how many moms I see carrying their kids' baseball equipment, carrying their kids' football helmet, carrying all stuff. I've seen moms carry their younger 3-year-old kid, carry the 5-year-old's bag, hold the 5-year-old's hand while they're walking in the park. And what they don't understand is they're creating that crutch, that dependability that's cute at 5, horrendous at 25. And it's one of the things that has separated me a lot, because I'm really in the forefront of that. And I'm sure, why do you think if you look at the women's soccer team that just won gold medal, those women look like lionesses. Yep. They're ready to take on anybody. But the men, it seems like more prima donnas, more don't want to get hurt. It's an investment. It's that. And it's sad because women need men and vice versa. And the women are kicking us butt immensely, which is awesome. We now have to find a way to step up to the table. And I'm glad you brought that up, because you see the athletes at our weakest state, which is when we're hurt.
Yeah.
And then now we got to get uncomfortable, and then you got to make them do exercises that suck.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And that you don't see immediate gratification. So I'm sure when you see these guys with the torn ACLs and stuff like that in the NBA, that's a process, man. That's not one day to the next. That's hard, and that's all mentality.
We had mentioned the team that we work with, the beach volleyball team at FIU. I don't want to let this opportunity pass without saying hello to a good friend of ours, Coach Rita Crockett. She is the head coach of the FIU volleyball team, an amazing woman. She is a 2-time Olympian. She was inducted into the Volleyball Hall of Fame, and she put together a program in the span of 5 or 6 years, from non-existence to competing for a national championship. And it didn't come by luck. She is an amazing person, a dedicated coach. She is hardworking, and the student athletes that she trains are one of a kind.
I love it. And I don't think women athletes in general, I don't think women in general, but especially women athletes, they're not getting the love they deserve. So definitely got to give them a lot of love, because they're crushing it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny that you mentioned the whole taking your whole pads, bringing them yourself to practice, because I remember being a kid and my dad making me carry my helmet, carrying my shoulder pads. He's like, no, you're going to carry that. I used to have to go 10 miles in the snow to go to practice. You can walk down the street and carry your pad. So it was that old school mindset of, toughen it up.
Let's look at it like this. In baseball, when I played, which we're 8 years apart, and you think I'm, 8 years older than you? 5. So we're all kind of there. But look how crazy this is. When I played, you used to go to the park. They used to have this big green duffel bag that looked like an army bag with 3 baseball helmets, catcher's gear, and everybody would share. The coach would just drop it on the floor. Everybody would share that. Now you go to any little league, no matter what the economic stature is, any little league, the kid has their own bag, their own bat, their own helmet, their own glove. So all these extra equipment are now brought in. Great for people like Rawlings because it pushes their product and everything. But what happens, and we're not teaching, is all these things come with a lot of responsibility. Mm-hmm. Everything that of value that we're giving to people, just like when you train people and you're training athletes, look, all these resources, it just doesn't come. You just get spoiled because when you're in Division I, everything is there and you don't see the hard work that goes to get that. But if you talk to any junior college athlete or Division III, it's totally different. So we gotta also learn how to appreciate stuff that I don't think we're getting that very well either.
So Hector, you got into coaching, or you were telling us right before we came in that you're a coach now. People hire you to work with their kids. What age do these kids start out with coaches?
So what I did was biggest failure in the history of Miami baseball by far. Failed miserably. I learned everything my dad did right and everything he did wrong, and I keep applying everything he did right, and I totally change everything that's wrong. I started working with 3-year-olds all the way to, I just did a story on the best baseball player in the country, the number 1 overall pick. The guy set the record, signed for $8.3 million, kid from Oregon State, on all that level. Parents are forgetting that, yes, you can hire a coach. Yes, again, you get the best equipment. The thing is, we're forgetting to motivate kids. Because I feel in the society we live in today, parents are so busy working, especially in places like Miami, that everything's expensive. We got to keep up with people. We got to, oh, wait a minute, you're training with that guy? Now I got to go train with that guy when you don't have to. Mm-hmm. So parents don't want to spend time with their kids. So there's no patience for kids. They'd rather throw something at them, let the kids get entertained, not build a relationship, not go through the process, not go through failure. So they want instant gratification. So what happens? Every time a kid goes out to play with his dad in the backyard, they get in a fight probably in about 5 minutes because the dad pushes them in the absolute wrongest way possible.
Yeah.
So I was seeing this over and over again. So I started becoming the first coach that actually coached the parents. Nice. I would say, listen, when you talk to your son, talk to them this way. So I would have kids, an example, that I put the ball on the tee and they were going to hit the tee and they go, oh, look at the bird. And they would chase the bird, literally chase the bird going. Yeah. While a parent, without even knowing, would get frustrated, embarrassed because they think it's a knock on them. I would reset them and go, no, it's okay. We just got to train him that when we're here right now, we're not bird watching, even though bird watching I'm sure is a tremendous thing to do. We're here to hit a baseball. And I'm going to reward you verbally. I'm not going to tell you I'm going to buy you a game or take you to this store. I'm going to reward you verbally on how good you're focusing. And I think we're undervaluing how important it is to verbally reward each other and be positive.
Yeah, everybody thinks big. Like, I got to get them something big for them to do what we want them to do. But that's not even the case.
No, it's not even close. Or he has to be an all-star. He has to be the best of the best. How about that the guy shows up and gives you the best effort and attitude you can find? And if that means he's a Division I guy, also if he's 8th batter, remember, and I've always said this, in the jungle you need lions, zebras, gazelles. Not everybody can be lions. If not, it'd be a disaster. In the ocean, not everybody can be sharks, even though everybody would love to be shark. You need dolphins, whales, sea turtles, crabs. And we want everybody to be LeBron, Zion, Bryce Harper. And everybody has a role. And I think that's key, and I'm big on that.
Yeah,
absolutely.
We like to work with athletes starting at a young age also. You can't tell who's going to be a Division I athlete or a pro athlete at when a child is 1 or 2 years old, but you can see what their physical stature is going to look like. As soon as these kids become weight bearing, we like to x-ray them and find out if their hips are level with the ground, if they have flat feet, because there's certain things that we see, certain trends that show up. Did you ever notice that a lot of the athletes now, the younger pitchers, were developing problems with the ulnar collateral ligament, a lot of Tommy John surgeries, and that's because the bones and ligaments aren't fully formed. There's certain activities that students and athletes should not be performing at certain ages because the body's not ready for it. And when we work with these athletes at a very, very young age, at 3, 4, 5 years of age, 6, all the way up through first grade and so on, the misalignment that they have in their foot turns into an ACL problem when they're 18 years old. The unlevel hips turns into low back pain when they're 40 years old. So when we're working with people our age, 40s, 50s, and 60s, we're talking about not only arthritic changes, but we're talking about replacing joints. You can pre-program the body to be as resilient and healthy as possible by addressing it at a young age. If you can keep the alignment good and solid at a young age, the likelihood of you developing these chronic, permanent, debilitating injuries at an older age is much, much, much less.
See, doctor, I think that's huge because I had no idea that even existed. But if I, who live in this, have no idea, imagine the parents that are out there competing for plastic trophies that don't mean a single thing for something like that.
Yeah, but we're going to hear more about that right after these words.
Repair your body. Replace your key hormone levels. Allow your body to regenerate itself without surgery or meds. When it comes to your health, the best plan is preventative. If you wait for symptoms to show, you could be too late. With over 40 years combined clinical experience, all under one conveniently located state-of-the-art facility, Dr. Joe is on the leading edge of regenerative and physical medicine. Take control of your health and get a free consultation and evaluation. Visit us at apmrmiami.com or call 305-598-8788. 305-598-8788.
And we're back with Coach HP. And Coach, right before the break, you were talking about plastic trophies.
Man, these plastic trophies, and now even these rings that are like $5 or something, everyone is risk. It's almost putting your kid at risk. When I've played teams that the coach's son has no business being out there after an inning and a half of the kid can't throw a strike, the kid is being absolutely shelled or hitting bombs off him. What is so wrong with, if there's no other pitcher, listen, umpire, we just can't play anymore. We don't have any more. I'm not going to put my kid through this. But that's looked at being soft and weak. That's how crazy this is. So what's happening? When's the last time a Miami pitcher out of high school got drafted in the first round? Low. Doesn't exist anymore because we're burning everybody's arm out. Now there's kids in high school literally going through Tommy John surgery, which is crazy. Want to know why? Because they're playing at these tournaments that don't matter every weekend. There's a difference between playing regular baseball and tournament baseball. When you play tournament baseball, it's like playoffs in the postseason. It's do or die, life or death. So you have a kid that pitched Friday now because he wants to win that plastic trophy, pitching on Sunday, giving you everything he has because he wants to please that one person at that time. When you're 10 years old, 12 years old, you don't care about a girlfriend because you're probably not into girls yet. You don't care about your neighbor. You don't care about your boy, your best friend. You care about your dad. And when your dad is the one that's putting the most pressure on you to perform, and he's doing it in a way that isn't positive and isn't encouraging, it becomes a disaster. I don't know if you know this, but I blew my arm out at the age of 12. I threw 120 innings, okay? My bones started cracking like this. They broke, I believe, the tissue, and I used to go like this, and all you hear was crack, 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 crack. I couldn't change the remote of the TV without my arm killing me. At the time when I had hair, I couldn't hold my hair. It was a disaster. And I used to tell my dad, I go, listen, I can't, I'm dying, I can't throw. This is before the game. But the adrenaline would kick in of how he would, in the worst way possible, motivate me to, you got to do this, et cetera, et cetera. And that's horrible.
Yeah.
And I had to go through that, which was a disaster.
Well, another great point you make is that whether it's the mom or dad pushing the athlete, your body gives you pain for a reason. It tells you, number one, stop doing what you're doing. You have to cross train. You have to do something else. Or, you got to find out why your body's not healing. Is the alignment off? Do you have a deficiency in certain vitamins? Are you taking something into your diet that you're allergic to? All of these things are easy to discover and give life to the athlete. When people want to learn more about these things, they can call our office at 305-598-8788. Advanced Physical Medicine and Rehab, we are a premier destination for athletes, for weekend warriors, and we coach them through these types of things. Not, just through injuries, but on how to improve their diet, how to lose weight, all of these different things, which for athletes, very, very important.
I think it's huge, and I think, and we're recording this too, I think it's super important that any parent out there that's seriously considering their kid to go through this journey, why not just call in? And I would have wished my dad would have called in and seen you. He probably would have thought you were crazy after, because this is how these dudes are, but at least he tried. At least try. And if you can't make it work out or whatever it is, but don't just assume. And the worst thing that people do is just follow somebody else. That's like the blind leading the blind here. Versus get the right knowledge. Just ask. I feel like I'm blasting on society here, but we are not training people to ask questions. I get so happy. I get about 500 to 1,000 DMs a week. Anything from, coach, should my son repeat the 8th grade again? To, coach, my son's contemplating suicide. What should I do? We need to reach out to people. And if you guys are offering this kind of service with this kind of information, if you don't take advantage of that, I don't know what you're taking advantage of.
Yeah, it's a huge resource. I know when I grew up, you only went to the doctor if you were hurt with a serious injury. Nowadays, this is mainstream. I think it's 31 out of 32 NFL teams have a chiropractor on staff. Just about every major league baseball team does, every NCAA program, whether you're talking about football, baseball, gymnastics, or volleyball. Very, very important, because the key to longevity, the key to an athlete's really lifestyle is prevention. Prevention is the best medicine. You never want to get injured. Things are going to happen, but if they do happen, you want to make sure that you get back on the field safely in as short a period of time as possible. And we work with athletes who are in the MMA, UFC fighters, Division I athletes, NFL players, Canadian Football League players. We've seen it all over 21 years in practice.
Doctor, who do you like working with the most? Out of all those sports, give us one, that athlete that you're like, is it the basketball player, football player, MMA guy, the fighters? Who do you... We had an athlete that did their ACL reconstruction rehab with us over the offseason. It was a Canadian Football League all-star, an amazing guy, just hardworking every day. He was waiting to get in as soon as we opened up, one of the last guys to leave. He was a joy to work with. Another call out to the FIU beach volleyball team. We've had the opportunity to work with these women since they were freshmen all the way up to the point that they're 5-6 years out of school right now, and there was no program in place for them to rest on their laurels. They had to prove themselves every single day. They took their rehab very, very seriously, and they were a pleasure to work with. MMA fighters, the same thing. They want to get back out there. They want to participate as quickly as possible, so they take their rehab seriously as well. We've seen so many things over the years. It's just been a real pleasure for us to be able to be a part of these athletes in their recovery. Nice.
Coach, when someone's listening to this in Coral Gables right now, they have a 5-year-old, a 3-year-old, and they want to know more about you. How do they find out more about you and your coaching?
On all social handles, at Coach HP. Now I travel the country. I do speaking engagements, talking about positivity, talking about effort and attitude, talking about the mistakes that I've made, how to deal with failure, to reward the process, not the results. We can't control results, but we can control process. And I've become obsessed with the process, and now it's become a bigger thing. So now it's just, I grab groups, and the most important person is not the player, it's the parents. Because parenting is huge, and it's everything.
I had the opportunity to be around some pretty amazing coaches. My high school football coach really shaped a lot of my life from that point on. And for someone to have the opportunity to work with a coach like you at such a young age, it's definitely a no-brainer. So if you are listening to the show, you need to call Coach HP. Look for him on Instagram. You're also going to want to find out more about future coming shows. Where we're going to be talking about stem cells, bioidentical hormone replacements. We're going to be talking about more about athletes and the type of recovery that we help them through. Advanced Physical Medicine and Rehab is the name of the practice. Our phone number is 305-598-8788. Join me every Wednesday night at 6 and Sunday morning at 9:30 to learn more about these procedures. I'm Dr. Joe Gabridella. Remember, repair, replace, and regenerate. Prevention is the best medicine. We'll see you next time.